Hi folks, Slavik Boyechko here with Tuts Plus, and in this lesson we're going to learn how to color correct our clips as well as apply a color look across the board for our entire project. First, what I like to do is, now that we're done bringing new clips from the browser, let's go ahead and close that and give ourselves a little window where we can see the colors and the video scopes. We'll go to Windows, we'll go to Hide Browser, and back to Window, and Add Video Scopes. Now there's some really professional tools here, but I like to pick the waveform and the RGB parade as a basic indicator of our colors. Let's go ahead and open up the inspector. And here we have correction 1. We can add more corrections, but let's modify the first color correction. We have 3 different windows: color, saturation, and exposure. And just as a rule of thumb, I like to edit the exposure first and then saturation and color. So this line here is like the horizontal axis. Everything above increases a particular value and everything below decreases. So here's our global adjustment. We can increase or decrease the exposure, or we can increase or decrease shadows, midtones, or highlights. Let's go ahead and decrease our shadows so that the bottom of the colors reaches close to 0. So we get a true black level. And let's increase the highlights. Okay. Now we go into the color options. And globally, I see that it's a little bit too blue. So this line here is the same, where everything above increases the value and everything below decreases. But now we can move left and right towards the certain colors that we want to increase or decrease. So let's go over to the blue area and decrease that slightly. And then let's change the saturation. Let's kind of pump it up a little bit. Maybe take the midtones and decrease the red a little bit. Okay, now we make sure our playhead is above the next clip. We select it, and we're already in the color adjustment window. Let's go down to exposure, bring down the black levels, bring up the white levels. Color looks pretty good. We might add some saturation and keep going. We're going to reduce the blue levels a little bit and increase the saturation globally. So we're going to go down the line and apply a color grade to every one of our clips, even the time lapse, and even the photos. Let's exit out of there. Now if we want to add a look across the board for our entire video project, there's a specific tool that allows us to add an adjustment layer over the entire project, and I'm going to go ahead and link to that in the lesson description. It's actually a title that is empty, doesn't have any titles associated with it, called RT Adjustment Layer. And we'll drag it here to the very beginning of the project. We'll trim it so that it goes the full length of the project. And then make sure to move it so that it's above all of our clips. Let's close that. And now any effect or color that we apply to this adjustment layer is applied to everything below that. So let's say we want the entire project to look a little blue. We can select the adjustment layer, go into the color correction, and globally add blue. And now all of the clips underneath it will have that blue tint. Let's increase it a little bit. You can also use any of the other filters or effects on the adjustment layer, and it'll apply for everything below. For broadcast, I like to add a broadcast safe filter to the adjustment layer. We'll search for safe. I'll drag it onto the adjustment layer. And now all of our clips below are safe for broadcast. Now Final Cut does come with an auto color correct option, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. Let's go ahead and delete the adjustment layer. And if we can click on any clip and go up here under color to balance, we can turn it on and it'll automatically adjust the color of that clip so that it matches the rest of the clips. If you let Final Cut analyze all of your footage before you import it, this will say analyzed and it'll have more frames to work with. For the most part, it works without analyzing too. It's just sometimes a little wonky, so I would recommend manually color correcting anytime you can. And that's it for basic color correction and applying color looks for the entire project. In the next lesson, we're going to learn how to add titles to our project.